Hey everyone, it's Jill and welcome back to my channel. This video is going to be a January reading wrap up. I haven't filmed one of these videos in quite a while, and I saw one when I was browsing through my subscriptions and I was like, you know what, I want to do that too. So I'm going to be talking about the 7 books that I read in January, starting off with Flirting by Disaster. This book I listened to on Spotify. This is a second chance romance about Mina and Nikhil. She goes to travel to Nikhil because she wants to give him divorce papers for him to sign. Why can't she just send it in the mail? I don't remember. But anyway, she goes to see Nikhil. They are still married but separated and have been for like 6 years, I think it was. And when she goes to visit Nikhil, there's a terrible storm which leads her to have to stay with Nikhil in their house. So they're forced to be in close proximity with each other to kind of hash things out about their past. This is the most miscommunication trope that I probably have ever read. These guys, I don't even think that they should be together, personally. They barely talk to each other. They make massive assumptions about each other and their feelings without even inquiring about them. It is very odd considering they have been together for so long. Mind you, they've been apart for the majority of this time. It seems like physical attraction may be one of the driving forces of their relationship, and even just the fact that they've been separated for so long, I don't really see how they wouldn't have moved on fully. I did end up finishing this one, but I found it a little bit frustrating to listen to, so I gave this one 2.5 stars. The next book that I read is Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. This is the 4th book of the Harry Potter series, which I'm sure all of you know, and I won't get into too much detail about it because I am filming a reading vlog of this one and the book after that, the 5th one, The Order of the Phoenix, so that will be coming at some point soon. But Harry is forced to go into this trial competition against his peers despite the fact that he wasn't supposed to. We have dragons, we have sea creatures, magic of course, and this is really just a great read. I was a little bit disappointed in some of the side characters. I didn't feel like they were treating other people the best, and even how they were treating each other. Specifically, there's an initiative that one of his friends are really interested in, and both Harry and the other friend kind of brush it off as like a silly side quest that's not important. I thought they should have been much more supportive just because the friend was so passionate about what her idea was and everything. But despite that, I'm still giving it 4 stars. And then the next book I read, I just have my laptop here, sorry if I'm looking down a little bit, but it was called That's Not My Name, and this is a thriller about a girl who she is found in the ditch. She wakes up, she has no memory of who she is, and then this guy who everyone's a stranger to her, so he seems like a stranger, he claims her as his daughter. So then at the same time, in a town kind of close by, there is a girl that has gone missing. Her name is Lola, and her boyfriend is the last one that has seen her. Her boyfriend's name is, what was his name? Drew. So everyone in the town assumes that he's the reason for why she's missing. So he's kind of shunned out from the village. However, he is trying to figure out what exactly happened to her since he last saw her, and time is ticking away. So it's getting a little bit more serious in terms of having to find her, because the odds aren't really looking great. I really had to suspend my disbelief for this one. There is one part in particular that I can think of where I was like, there's no way that that would have happened. But anyways, I digress. This one wasn't bad. I did take a few weeks to finish this, so it wasn't very gripping, I suppose, for me at least. I found some of the attitudes and decisions that the side characters made didn't make the most sense, especially considering their actions at the start of the book. I thought the twist was good though, so I ended up rating this one 3 stars. I read another thriller. I think this one is kind of more a mystery. This was called The Water Lies. This is about Tessa and her toddler who seems to know a girl whose body was found in the canal near her house. Tessa has no clue how her son would have been able to know her, so she is extremely confused. Like, he knew her on first name basis, which is very concerning for Tessa, obviously. And since her son is so young, I think he was like younger than 3 years old, he can't exactly tell her and explain to her how he knows this girl whose name was Gigi. Well, that was her nickname. I don't remember her actual name. And then the mom of Gigi, Barb, she flies to this area to try to figure out how her daughter died, because she's unconvinced that her daughter drowned, because I guess her daughter was really good at swimming. And just the circumstances, Barb didn't think that her daughter would be involved in sketchy things and stuff like that. So together, Tessa and Barb tried to work together to try and figure out the mystery of Gigi. And one thing that was weird is that Tessa would bring her toddler when they're like scoping things out, which is very dangerous, first of all, but also very weird. Like, doesn't really make sense. Also, at the same time, Tessa's literally pregnant, so she's putting her future baby in harm too, because she could have definitely gotten into dangerous situations. So I don't really understand why she would do that. So the ending of this was just so convoluted and really far-fetched, honestly, but I did think it was pretty well paced regardless, and I read it in only a few days, so I ended up giving this one 3 stars, but I did like it better than That's Not My Name, so maybe I should give it like a 3.25 or something. And after that, I guess I was on a kick of thriller mysteries. I read Never Lie, and this one is about Trisha and Evan, who are trying to house hunt. They find this amazing estate in the middle of nowhere, and they go to tour it, but at the same time there's a snowstorm, so they're trapped in the house, I guess. And even though this house is so nice, it is so cheap, because the previous owner was a psychiatrist and I guess they got killed. The circumstances around the death of this psychiatrist is not really known though, so it's still a mystery. So they're trapped in the house. They end up staying in the house, which, like, I don't even know if that would be allowed. 1. 2, that's really weird because it's just like a random house that you're going to tour. Why would you want to stay? I don't know. I feel like they should have shoveled their way out and like gone home. Trisha finds a room with a bunch of tapes, which I guess the psychiatrist taped all of their sessions. So Trisha is listening to these tapes and she's starting to piece together how these tapes relate to the death of the psychiatrist. There were some parts in this that were pretty creepy, like things in the house that are out of place and like things that go bump in the night type vibe. But I thought I was going to be able to predict this one. I ended up wrong, which is pretty typical with Freida McFadden. But the twist ended up being interesting enough. I thought the ending was a little bit weird though, because the bad guys, I mean, I guess this is kind of a spoiler, minor spoiler. The bad guys kind of end up on top, which, I mean, you don't know who the bad guys are. And there's also a child involved, which I was like, this doesn't sit the best with me. However, I'm still giving it 3 stars. I read it in like a few days too, so I feel like I can't complain too much. And now time to discuss my favorites of the month, and that is of course Heated Rivalry. I did post a video doing a full spoiler reading vlog, so if you're interested, I'll tag that down below. But the first book, Heated Rivalry, is an MM hockey romance where we have Ilya and Shane, who are both elite hockey players that play in the NHL. They're like the top 2 players of the league, and they've been pitted against each other and kind of been marketed as rivals ever since they've been in their junior year for the World Juniors. And they start this relationship off casually, however feelings start getting involved and both parties are worried about their careers and what it could mean for them to come out as gay and bi in the hockey world, and especially considering the fact that they're rivals. One character is definitely more comfortable in their sexuality, but there's other dangers with his circumstance, and then the other is a little bit more confused and has some internalized homophobia that he has to work on. I absolutely love these characters. I definitely went into this biased because I watched the TV show first, only because I am not usually a sports romance girl. So I watched the TV show not even knowing how much I would be obsessed, and then I went into the books. Actually, I have the book here. I should hold it up. I also have the Harry Potter book here. I meant to hold it up, but forgot. So this one, I will say, the writing, not the best. However, I shall forgive Rachel Reid because I am just so invested in these characters and their story, and their growth throughout the books are just so good. I love how it shows these characters becoming vulnerable even though they're both terrified of being in a relationship with each other. There's amazing yearning and things left unsaid between the two of them, which is so sad when you know how much they really care about each other. and I gave this 4.5 stars. I really loved it. And then I went straight into The Long Game. I read both of these books within a few days, but I loved The Long Game even more. This is just a continuation, and I'll be mentioning minor spoilers of the end of Heated Rivalry. So for this one, Shane and Ilya, they make a charity which is named on behalf of Ilya's mother, who died by suicide, and they have a hockey camp for kids, so we get some really cute scenes of them teaching. But the major problem in this one is that they're dealing with having to keep this secret long term, which their relationship is now like a middle distance relationship. They're 2 hours away from each other. This is greatly affecting one character in specific because he just wants to be out and proud to be together with the other. And although the other character, he's not the most aware, and I know people hate this book because they feel like he's just awful in here, I think he does end up redeeming himself. However, this book definitely shows some of his lowest moments, so I can see why people don't like him after this. There are trigger warnings for depression and suicide for this book, just to let you know. But overall, I adored this book. I loved how one character was really building such a great relationship with the other character's family because he wasn't able to do so with his own. And there are just so many touching scenes that made me tear up. Even the side characters, they did some things where I was like, I'm going to burst out crying right now because it is just so touching and sweet. Despite the miscommunication, or I don't even know exactly what, if you want to call it miscommunication, despite the, I guess we could say despite the flaws of one of these characters, I truly think they belong together, and I'm really happy with the ending of this. I can't wait until we get the third book about these two, and I can't wait for season 2 of the TV show as well. So I gave this book 5 stars. It was so emotional for me, and I just really loved it. That is all of the books that I read in January. Thanks for watching this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed, and if you read any of these books, please let me know your thoughts on them, and I will see you guys in a new video soon. Yeah, that's it. Bye.